Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah, Quadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening, learning, and to the Bayis Shadabadad, the house of David. I am Ayashatat with Men of Valor, Las Vegas camp. Hey, once again, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, to you Akim and Akwath out there listening and learning and paying attention, all right, to the times that we are in, all right, and making your body a living sacrifice, you men out on the highways and byways, okay, preaching the 100% truth coming out of GMS. I have a lesson for you today, Lord willing, to be edifying, uplifting unto the body. I don't have a title, so I'm going to get straight into the lesson. Lord willing, to be edifying. This is going to be here in the book of Psalms, chapter 2, and verse 1, and it reads, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?" All right, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Let's go on that word rage right quick. Okay, this is going to be here in the blue letter. Slovakia. And this is going to be rage, and it's going to be H7283.
Strong's H7283.
Ragash, and it reads, to be in a tumult or a commotion, to conspire, plot. All right, and this is exactly what they do. All right, these nations have plotted against the nation of Israel, against the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian, as well as the speckled birds whose father's line goes back. All right, these nations have plotted forever. All right, because they believe that they are superior. All right, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has made every man in his lot. All right, every man with the direction that he should stay in, the direction he should go. All right, so here it is. They continue to do these things and continue to be, continue to put themselves over the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian. All right, but knowing and understanding that this is our punishment, that we would have to receive this, okay, for a time period. But yet our punishment is almost at an end, okay? Let's go verse 2. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 2, and verse 2, and it reads, "The kings of the earth themselves, and the rulers, take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying," all right, they conspired together, they took counsel together, they plotted together, all right, to take out the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian, as well as the speckled bird whose father's line goes back. They continue after this way still to this day, continuing to through their summit meetings, all right, through their legislative branches. These people continue to find a way to slay Jacob, all right, to slay the righteous, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's people. Continuing on, verse 3, and it reads, "Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." All right, and these other nations want to cast away the cords from us, and they don't want the nation of Israel, the true children of Israel, to lead. Why? Because when Israel's in rule, the people rejoice, but when the righteous are in rule, the people rejoice, but when the wicked are in rule, the people mourn. All right, and this devil has everybody mourning right now. For the Israelites to come up, that means everybody has to be put in subjection. Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white man would have to lose his power. The powered structure, the democracy, the do as thy wilt, Aleister Crowley spirit, all right, and the abominations of this world could not be. All right, but this devil is holding on to this system. All right, and some of these other nations ultimately are holding on to this system for what? Hey, because they are Confederate. They have been Confederate. They have lived deliciously off of this system. All right. So, do you want to get rid of something that is the very fabric of you and your power? Okay, you in this state that you were in, that you have prospered for so long. Okay, it's not easy for these people to give up their strength. All right, and their strength, hey, being their financial gain, all right, being their land, their prosperity, okay, because these people at the same token, same time, right now have no true heritage, okay. Everything's out of whack. Everything has been shifted in the world. Everything has moved around, hey, to ultimately, Salakia, I'm at work, to ultimately keep the lie going, all right, because this devil has told the lie that he is the people of the book, okay, and they have continued the affliction of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian, as well as the speckled bird whose father's line goes back, all right. They have continued these lies, hey, to put Jake in subjection, okay, and this has been a detriment to our kingdom. This has been a detriment to the people of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, but it's for its purpose and it's for its reason that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has done this, that we are to be judges, okay? So, Salakia. Go here. It's going to be here in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, and it's going to be chapter 2. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, in verse 12, and it reads, "Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings." Right. So the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian, as well as the speckled bird whose father's line goes back, all right, that are of the Lord's elect, the Bayeshadabadat, the house of David, all right, hey, are clean contrary to this devil's belief, clean contrary to these other nations, okay, that we are seeking after righteousness, all right. We seek after the true way of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Let me read that from the beginning again, and it reads, "Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous." Right, and this devil has lied in wait for the righteous continuously, throughout his policies, throughout captivities. All right, everything that he has done, from redlining to buck breaking, to your EBT, your WIC, everything has as this devil is a snare. All right, he has laid a trap in every way. All right, as it says in the book of Psalms. All right, I believe that it's Psalms chapter 6. All right, matter of fact, let me go ahead and go there. Give me 1 second. Salakia. All right, this is one in the book of the book of Psalms. Book of Psalms, and it's going to be here. And I'm going to read it in the NLT 57 and 6, and it reads, "My enemy have set a trap for me. I am weary from distress. They have dug a deep pit in my path, but they themselves have fallen into it." All right. Hey, but they have dug that deep pit, okay? They have continued to lay a trap for the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian. as well as the speckled birds whose father's line goes back. They continue to try to entrap, the children of Israel. All right? And why is that? Because they have a perpetual hatred towards us. All right? They, as it says in the book of Genesis, all right? Esau, Edom, and these other nations, all right, that are confederate, as it said in the book of Psalms chapter 2. Okay, continuing on, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean, contrary to our doings. He unbrideth us with our offering, with our offending of the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education, right? And we do hold them accountable, all right, as counterfeits, because the disgusting and horrible things that they continue to do and have done throughout the ages, unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's name, unto his image, unto his people, all right? So we do we do hold him, yes, accountable, as Yahweh Bashem Yahushai holds him accountable. All right? We hate everything that is an abomination unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? This is the heritage of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that he has given us. This wisdom, this knowledge, this understanding. All right? This is the things that we are to look forward to. These are the things that we are supposed to continue in. This is our heritage. All right? That Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has imparted unto us, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, as well as the speckled bird whose father's line goes back. All right, we're going to read this here, book of Psalms, chapter 83, and I'm going to go ahead and start at verse 1. This is meant to be a short video. Lord willing, I do a part 2 for it. But we're going to read Psalms 81. Let's go ahead and read it in the NLT. And let's start at 1. And it reads, a psalm of Asphalt. O power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, do not be silent. Do not be deaf. Do not be quiet. O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? And this is what we're asking Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We're asking Yahweh Bashem Yahushai not to be quiet and silent in these days and this time. We understand through scriptures, that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had turned his back on us. All right? That we could, we had a time period of punishment. All right? We had to suffer. But now that our punishment is almost over, we are seeing these curses, Salakia, starting to cling unto our enemies. All right? As it says in the book of Exodus. All right? Continuing on, book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 2, and it reads, Don't you hear the uproar of your enemies? Don't you even, it's like it, don't you see that your arrogant enemies are rising up? Right, and this is what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai was telling us. All right, our enemies rise up against us. Our enemies, wanted to cut the cords from us, to break apart from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's laws, statutes, and commandments. Not as if they had the law, but yet are they under the law. All right, the law was given to the Israelites, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian, as well as the speckled bird whose father's line goes back. It was given to Israel to enforce. It was given unto Israel for inheritance. It was given unto Israel, all right, for judgment. All right, continuing on, verse 3, and it reads, they devise crafty segments against your people. They conspire against your precious ones. All right, and so they continue to conspire against the precious ones. Who are those precious ones? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's people. Yasharallah, he prince of the power, the sons of God. All right, they continue in the way, to go off and to try to cause more harm, more anguish, more suffer unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's people. Yet our punishment had an end. All right, they still have continued it to this day. Continuing on, verse 4, and it reads, Come they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. And this is exactly what they try to do through their policy, try to do through their food, try to do through the air, try to do through the law. All right, the policy, the law, the food, the air, everything. All right, everything is set up as a snare and a trap. All right, to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, as well as you speckled birds whose father's line goes back. All right, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said, you will go to your enemy for the want of all things. All right, and being that we have to go to Esau, Edom for the want of all things in these other nations. All right, hey, how much more do they have the opportunity to weaponize things against you, Jake? All right, the scripture says he is wiser than Daniel. All right, he has the ability, hey, to search out these things, to seek after these things, what makes you tick, what makes you sick, what makes you vulnerable. All right, what takes you from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, continuing on, and it reads, we will destroy the very memory of this, of its existence. Right, and we understand that Israel is a people before it is a place. All right, as the state itself stands. All right, but the people who are over there now are not the people. All right, and Israel abideth forever, but we have forgotten who we are. All right, that's why in chapter 2 it says against his hidden ones. All right, against the hidden ones, the children of Israel, not knowing who they are and whose they are. But yet Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has had mercy and grace unto us, that we have awoken back up to the truth. All right, that we may call upon his name, that we may seek his face. Okay, and it reads, verse 5, and it reads, yes, this was the Salakia, I'm at work again, I'm watching. And the numerous Salakia, this was their numerous decision. They signed a treaty as allies against you, right? And they signed a treaty against us as allies. All right, so they became on one accord, they became confederate. All right, they were in agreement, all right, to what to do unto the children of Israel. Change the name of lands. All right, hey, erase the history, make it a mystery. All right, they couldn't get rid of all the artifacts, they couldn't get rid of everything. All right, so what did they do? They changed some things to the best of their ability, and they told a little white lie. All right, they told a little white lie, and they believed that it would stay white. All right, believed that that lie would stay pure, but it was a lie, and it was bound to fall upon itself. All right, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai says, I will make their tongue fall upon themselves. All right, so this is a part of that, is the lie coming out for everything that they had through their treaties of Rome. All right, through the Balfour agreements. All right, through the UN agreements. Everything that they do is BS. Okay, is the easiest way to say it. Okay, continuing on, and it reads, the Edomites and the Ishmaelites. All right, these two nations, Edomites being Esau, Edom, the so-called white men, the so-called Europeans and the small hatters. Okay, Ishmaelites is so-called Arabs, Moabites and Hagarites, the Japanese and the Chinese. Okay, Salakia, Gibeonites, Amorites, and Amalek, and that's the so-called small hat Salakia, is Amalek, and people from Philistine and Tyre. All right, and these are ancient cities. Okay, continuing on, Asher as joining them too, as Salakia, and is alien, and Salakia, and is allied with the descendants of Lot. All right, so Moab. All right, the Moabites, all right, hey, and Asher, all right, hey, continue in the way. And Salakia, I'm at work, so I'm gotta particularly watch on the shift, but I wanted to get a video in, okay? This is Book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 10, and it reads, there was, Salakia, they were destroyed at Endor, and their decay, Salakia, I skipped a verse. This is the Book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 9, and it reads, due to them as you did to the Midianites, and as you did to the Sisera and Jubin at the Kishon River. They were destroyed at Endor, and their decaying corpse fertilizes the soil. Let their mighty nobles die as Oreb and Zidah did. Let all their priests die like Zebin and Zalamah. All right, and as you read into those accounts, hey, for the things that they did, this account is just being ultimately slew. All right, ultimately being put to death. Okay, hey, knowing and being and knowing the demise that's coming. All right, of being put to death, of being broken up. All right, of being turned away and trodden down. Okay, verse 12, and it reads, for they said, let us seize for our own use these pasture lands of the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, so hey, to seize the children of Israel and use them for their use. All right, to treat them how and mistreat them however they wanted to do, because they have no respect unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai's image, his name, his people, his land. All right, so essentially being trodden down was because of our disobedience, but Yahweh Shem Yahushai has brought it full circle. All right, Lord willing, hey, we're gonna stop right there. This was an edifying, uplifting lesson, Salakia. I might do this over again, but I will post it with the part 2 as well. So Lord willing, this was edifying, uplifting. I want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone. To all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity. To the men, women, and children listening, learning, and to the Bayis Shadabadat, the house of David. Till the next time, my Maya Shatat saying Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abba Shalom.